So for right now, our first topic that you will be discussing is the third topic on how can aquaculture educators in Asia and Europe collaborate more better to facilitate opportunities for mobility in and between Asia and Europe. As for today's presentations, I think we have established that we do have the connections. So how to bring that further to move forward from what we already have. So right now, to my knowledge on what we have today presentation, we have mobility in teaching, in education. As for myself, we also have mobility in research exchange, and so creating make good presentation on mobility within the Asian country. So that has been going on. So what can we do to improve that further? And I think in order to answer that question, we also need to know the limitations that we already have now. If anyone have any idea on how to start, how we can improve the situations based on your experience, that would be great. Anybody? Yes, Gilbert, please.
Well, no, when I was introducing myself, I was just, but of course it was very brief, but I was talking about the credit exchange, and I was just wondering if other people have the same experience. So maybe I can explain now a little bit more in detail what we're trying to do. So we're having this English master, and so the Belgian organization financing our master, most of our master students are coming from the south, and so the organization financing our master, actually they want us on the long term to have part of the education being done with countries in the south. And so we have Canton University, then we still have a partner in South Africa, partner in South America, but okay, let's talk about Canton University as an example. So for a long time we are sending students for thesis work to Canton University, also to many other universities, but then they do thesis work there, they just come back to our university and they defend the thesis there and they earn the credits at our university. Okay, piece of cake. But now our financer wants us to move beyond. And so this means that after doing thesis work, they stay at Canton University, they defend there, and they earn the credits from Canton University. And then on their diploma supplement, it will show that it is a diploma issued by Ghent University, but those credits are taken care of, so to speak, by Canton University. So there we are.
Double degree or?
No, it's not even a double degree. It just that particular credit. Okay. Well, double degree is even, that's for the long future, maybe for the distant future. But then, okay, here we go. So this means that we have to inquire what are the standards and the procedures being used by Canton University, because at the end of the day, it's a Ghent University diploma. And of course, Ghent University wants to keep an eye, okay, how are procedures, how is the defense organized, questioning, answering, etc. So that at the end of the day, Ghent University gives its blessing, and they say, okay, you do the exercise at Canton University, and it's a Ghent diploma. Reciprocally, we also want to do this, because also for Canton University, it's an interesting exercise. Of course, they may send students to our university to do thesis work and defend at our university. And then, of course, also Canton University wants to keep an eye. What are they doing there at Ghent University? Finances, that's another topic, but okay, I will not discuss here, because, of course, it's much easier to send students from Ghent University to Vietnam, because they come with a grant that is tailored to living in Europe. So life in Vietnam is much cheaper. The other way around is very complicated. Yes. Sure. We just had one exercise of a student coming to do thesis work without credit exchange at our university, and then we really had to scratch money from all kinds of sources in order for him to survive. But yeah, that's another discussion in itself. Mm-hmm. So well, okay, so this means that for this credit exchange we have to get into contact, well, we have to arrange for the procedures. We have to, because our faculty is looking over this. If we want to send a student to Canton University and say, okay, he's going to earn his or her credits there, then our faculty committee on quality assurance saying, yeah, but okay, how are the procedures there? Is it okay? Also at university level, etc. We are just at the start of this exercise. And we want to proceed because it's a very interesting exercise. You learn to know each other, of course, but we, as I was saying, we realize that it comes with a lot of trouble and procedures, etc. And I was just wondering if anybody else is in the same, trying to do the same exercise, because it's then not mobility is mobility, but okay, mobility without commitment, but this is mobility with commitment at the end.
Right. So in essence, that what you are saying that the first problems or the limitations is the standards of the two universities,
Yeah.
and how we can make sure if you know the UGAN want to give a blessing, if it's good enough to receive the UGAN blessing. Is that something like that?
Yeah. And it's especially it's something that is going on above our head.
Yes,
It's not
certainly.
just between your lab and my lab.
Yes,
it's
sure.
the faculty.
It's the faculty, the administrations. Yes. Does there anybody have suggestions on how we can make sure the standards to maintain the standard between two universities? Does anyone have suggestions on that?
I don't have a special kind of advice. In fact, I agree with you that these two universities which collaborate should have a unique standard. This is the main point. If not, how can, when students get back in the country, how could be this evaluated? So this is the main point.
Of course, I know what is going on between European universities, and as Jean was saying, for quite, well, maybe not for that long, but for a while at least, indeed, within the Erasmus project, if a student from Ghent University or from Norway or from any other European university is sent to another university, we know each other very well, we know what the standards are and to what extent their exchange is possible. Is something similar ongoing among Southeast Asian universities?
It is in my understanding, for internship program or any education exchange in Europe, that in the Erasmus have like an educational body that like certified if this is good enough to be sent. To my knowledge, so far there's no standard yet between the university. Do you think it is, anybody, do you think it is something that we should start maybe using the European standard as a basis, and then, you know?
This is a very difficult question, and it's a long-lasting process. I know we took a long time before we could communicate in Europe, and we still cannot with some universities. But I think this to have accept each other credits, that takes time, and I think we need to go through the old process of getting good colleagues around, respect them, and then be able maybe to send master students to do their thesis work, and without any more exchange, and to fund that and bring back and build confidence, and then approach the university. Of course, this is done simultaneously to try to drive the process towards partners, and I think and we have another challenge, because we have the same push as Gilbert say, that the agency that are funding scholarships for Asian and other countries, and Noorad with us, they are changing attitude, and they do the same. They push us towards giving the courses, the teaching in the other country. And then Norwegian universities have a problem, because we have no tuition fee. We only have money from the state by the credits that we give. So then all by a sudden there is no income in anything. So this is the challenge that we have, and of course it's okay that we don't charge any students wherever they come from with a tuition fee, and this is thanks to the Norwegian student, because they don't accept it, this politics. I don't know what will happen in the future, but there is no plan for that. But then there is an extra challenge actually, because we see it now in the Mundus, in the Erasmus Mundus program that we are working on. This is we are different in a way. There are all types of costs that are required by. But I think just to sum up, the old way, creating contacts, eat and drink together, develop get friends, and then start, because I will never send a master student of mine out unless I trust the advisor there. And then, of course, the student works on projects of the host of the other country, and then of course we do it together, and they come back and deliver the thesis, and then maybe develop some joint type of let's say that both universities are mentioned. This is maybe not so difficult if we try, but a double degree is a little bit far away, but it could be very clear objective. No, so we need to come together and yes. It doesn't. It's not a quick fix.
Yes.
Quick fix.
All right. Bring us to the discussions we have this morning regarding having a procedure or no procedure. I think if you could share, is there any basis or characteristic of the pre-agreed unique standard? What are the main things that we should focus in order to get the agreed unique standard? Is there anything that come to your mind, or on the standard that we should focus on? If you go back to the case in the UGAN just now.
Before, because I would like to add a few more points on the discussion table, people to think about. Because of course I am an ex-Ghent alumni, so of course I have a very soft for Ghent whenever they talk about Ghent. But I think I also now has to focus for Bangladesh as well. So in Bangladesh right now, with the University project, we developed the platform BATIP, Bangladesh Aquaculture Technology Innovation Platform, and under BATIP now there are several universities are joining this program. The reason I take the microphone is that there are 16 universities in the presentation I stated. Right now it is teaching aquaculture and fisheries in Bangladesh. With all these respects, I think the quality of the alumni or the graduates from each universities are not really just based on the credit they are receiving, because when we are in the interview of selecting the students by credit, actually we don't know actually who is what, because the standards the universities are giving the credit are not the same. Okay, everybody thinks their students are the best, so that's why they're giving the very high credit. But when we sit in the interview, what we see how we can measure. So actually the credit the university is providing does not help the student that much, because we have to check them again. So that's why I think the university has to work together in a way that how the curriculum they are teaching, at least somewhere, unless there are some very specialization, there is some basic standards of the course curriculum, basic of the credit the way the university is providing, also the common understanding of the research what they would be doing. So unless they do have, so they cannot make a common platform. So that's, of course, they all will have differences, but at least for when we say that, okay, somebody graduated from Bangladesh in aquaculture, we expect that he actually passed on these things. So then we can judge. And for the point Jubair and Professor, sorry I forgot your name, of course I know him for a long time, before as well. So for those inter-country exchange program, of course, it's because of the boundary of each country, maybe a nationality, or each country has a higher standard, lower standard, all these discussions, okay, could be. But before, each country, even their own institutions, I see when I take the privilege, I was in Belgium for 7 years. I see even the universities within the Belgians are, I'm from Ghent, I'm better. I'm from Leuven, yes, I'm much better, okay. So those are the things, the university has to come in standard. So the students are, whenever they give the credit to the board, they know that what it is. I think that each country of the government are also suffering for that. When the government recruiting the students, they also doesn't really care for the university credit, because they do not really trust on it. So I think the university really need to work on harder on it to make a common ground standard before they look for the all global communication.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Okay. So if to sum that up, it should not only be the credit. It should look go deep and look into the curriculum structures and also the content. Should we make it official, or between the countries?
Just a comment. This is very important.
Yeah. Just a comment. Right? Should we make it? How to make it official? Do you have any ideas or any suggestion, comments on, we have the standards, but it has to be something that been verified. So for Europe country, you have the Europe stamp. So how do we make stamp between Europe and Asian? Who stamp it? I guess that's the question.
No immediate ideas, but it's indeed thanks to you that we have been going through this exercise, because we have this supranational level that is really forcing the universities to go into this and to harmonizing all this. Without that we would not have done the exercise either, I think, or maybe very partially. It's I guess it's at a national level. There is something that has to be done by the Ministry of Education, of course, of the country in itself. Maybe. But now, if you just allow me to jump for 1 minute from Southeast Asia to Africa, because I'm working quite intensively in Africa, and for instance in Kenya. So we are now about to finish a project, and it's about aquaculture education in Kenya. And so it's indeed, what is the correct thing? Auditing all the universities offering a master related to aquaculture. What are they doing? Who are the teachers? What is the program? What is the all this, the equipment that they are offering? Because also there's aquaculture education, there are mushrooming, universities offering this. And this is, in this project, it is very important, the Ministry of Education is part of the project. Because otherwise it's just again an exercise without commitment. But indeed the ministry is part of the project, and they are looking, it's like this, etc., etc. And then at the end of the day, normally the recommendation should be that not everybody is doing the same thing, of course, and that quality levels should be respected.
I have an example also from my own country, that there is a NUKUT, a special organization of the government, who looks if we establish a new program, teaching program, or we need to let's say re-accreditate it regularly. Then they look at all the teachers and the background and the experience in research and in education. There's a long list. So this is an incredible process. This is a part or more detail. And of course this comes from the EU, let's say. This is taking part, I think, in most of Europe. But I don't know I only know the details from my work. And I've recently gone through 2 of these processes. It's a pain in the ass. They ask for the specific details, and this is a part of the, let's say, to standardize or to give a level. And then these teachers are important, and their experience, research, and education.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's a very good point to sum that out. We need to have government involved. Do you have anything to add?
Yes. Thank you. I would like to add some point on like what Dr. Mizan said. So I'm working in the university, so I know what he mentioned about the variation of the credit among the university. So I think it's a very, very difficult job to harmonize this in this level. And only the organization that can do is the University Grant Commission, because that is the umbrella. Under that, we all university are working. So if the University Grant Commission, they say, okay, you have to follow this is the for aquaculture or fisheries studies or education, this is, so that can be a similar standard. So that is one of my point. And another point is, you mentioned that for Europe they have one superficial body, but what I say that in ASEAN, also somehow you can say ASEAN, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia. But always like me, I'm here, not included as ASEAN and Bangladesh, included Bangladesh. So that's how what I feel always is something different. I'm not even directly, I cannot go. Like what I did my PhD in Thailand, in Prince of Sangkla University, and that scholarship was also for ASEAN countries. But I didn't care, I applied. And professor say, oh yeah, yes, I agree to receive you. So this kind of thing we are also facing, I think it should. And recently, just for your information, I was also in Uganda for food safety, international training program on food safety. That was in 2013. And then I go again in 16, but after that no Bangladeshi was there. because when somebody say, oh, you are there, my colleague, they want to be there, they say no, Bangladesh is no more in that list.
I see.
So, that's how I was talking with Jan. Why Bangladesh is no more there? They say, okay, it's the internationalization, so maybe we are focusing some other countries. So this is some kind of limitation for us. So that we really need to address.
Okay, I
Thank
think
you.
that's a very good point. Like just going back, we need to get the government involved. Re-accreditation is a very pain in the process. In order to do that, in order to provide a very good standard, do we need to get the industry involved? I know that in Vietnam, the farm work very closely with the academia. I mean the industry. So do you think that we need to get the industry involved in setting the standards, or not?
You mean in Vietnam?
Yeah, in
With
Vietnam.
the
Yeah.
academy and farmer?
Yes, because we are discussing about setting a standard for mobility, for credit transfer, for exchange program, for curriculum structure, a standard, a unique standard. Do you think that industry should give their own insight or point of view in creating this?
Yeah, it one was a problem in Vietnam. The academic maybe the higher, they cannot contact the farmer.
All right.
So now we want to try to improve that problem.
All right.
Yeah, one of the problem. Yeah,
Okay,
we don't know how
can we
the farmer got the problem. So and the farmer when they had the problem, they don't know how to contact the scientist. Yeah,
Right.
they just ask the local authority. Yeah, but then the authority don't give the problem to us, so we don't know. Actually, the problem in the farmer.
Right.
So yeah, one of the problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in essence, the academy has been looked as elite, I guess, if I can rephrase that. How can we improve that? How can we improve? Because mobility is not just born for education. It's not just born for research. It should go beyond that. So how we can improve that, in your opinions, if you have any ideas?
Just that I think that Ministry of Education and Science should collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture and Aquaculture, and they have to agree kind of I don't know, protocol. This is what I suggest.
Any other suggestions?
But I don't know, I hope I understood it, but the industry doesn't have any direct impact on how we prepare, but they need to give a support in a way. We need in the introduction to write very clearly why is this needed, and be very specific there. But then they have, of course, it depends on which level we are. For a bachelor program, we have just prepared a bachelor program now in aquaculture technology, and then the industry was very important. They asked for it, and they pushed the university. But for a master program, we are more small kings. But we need to have, in a way, support, and for us in aquaculture, this is not very difficult. But still, then the university are more. It's the quality of the teachers and all these that are the most. So a certain percentage of professors and so on have to be giving the courses. So they look. It's very quantitative, you know. So.
Sometimes industry is strong, and they don't want people from faculty, from university, and they have their own people who can research for themselves. This is the problem.
I don't think this is a problem. If they can do it themselves, it's fine. So we do education. They don't do education.
This should be.
Yes, but this is a little bit our job to do. To create, though I'm talking about my own conditions, and actually I feel the same sometimes. But if they have their own research divisions, fine, because then our students can start. It's a job for them, you know. So when they educate, you know, then they have a place to work. But most of the even strong companies doesn't have this type. Some have feed industry has strong research divisions, but not the production groups that are producing fish. They depend on institutes and university. But
Sometimes they are close to the university. They are close. They close the door.
Yeah, but then let it become their problem.
Okay.
Because if they are closed, they lose.
All right. Okay. I think we. Yes. Yes. Sure.
It depends also on what type of people you want to educate.
Yeah.
Do you want people who are ready to start moving within the industry, or do you try to shape researchers, or a little bit a combination of the two? And well, I'm just thinking how we organize, and I was looking in Ingvar's direction. At least for our master, we do not have a formal way to involve the university in our education. I mean, we are visiting, we are to involve the industry in the type of education. But of course, as Ingvar is saying, in aquaculture there are so many opportunities to be in contact with the industry. And of course, it's clear that even if the target of your education is to produce a researcher in general, that there were always some relationship.
So if to sum that out, it depends on what is your objective. So to summarize, I think we suggest more on the education's part, on the credit exchange program and how to make it better. And I have about 7 suggestions here. Right, in 1 minute, let's go around because I only have 1 minute. My kid told me that. In 1 minute, let's go around. So we have the credit transfer programs, we have the inputs of industry. Other type of mobility that has not been done. Do you have any suggestions?
One point I would like to add here is that we have not talked here. Several universities in Europe and US and Japan, they are doing already, at least in Bangladesh I see, that the students are get involved in research, and also university have research program far from the laboratory doing in other countries.
Right.
I think the outreach,
Far from home.
okay, far from home. So I think that's the very excellent opportunities for the students to work, because they are working in the industry, they're solving with the problem they really face in the on ground. So I think the university has to be much more involved in the future, focusing out from the laboratory, out from the campus. Okay, they have to be in the campus. Campus life is beautiful, but they also has to go.
Okay, Lillian, do you have any suggestions on the type of mobility programs that can be done?
The accreditation issue, I think we should involve not only the universities, but also the government and also the industry. Because I think by talking to the industry, we actually know what is actually needed for the students. Because at the end of the day, graduate employability is most important, right? So yeah, we, of course, like Professor Gilbert say, we probably want to produce researchers, but also we need to, besides that, we also need to produce aquaculture farmers and so on.
Right, Paul, last one, and you.
I think we need a team that specialized to establish this connection. It's like an association that will be in charge of the whole, probably Southeast Asia. So we have branch everywhere. So this team, as well as in Europe, it has to be the same team as well. So they standardize the whole system, the whole education system. Of course, it's a tedious job.
That should be funded by the European.
Yes. Should be funded. Yeah, because we
Main conclusion.
yeah, because we want to make everything standardized. One team has to work yeah, throughout the whole. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. In Indonesia, this is we need stakeholder to close to industry. Maybe the most important here is the funding is number one, and then far from our university, and to know, and we can learn in other country to this program. Okay, thank you.
And I have another question for you. Yes, please, Mike.
Yeah, I work with the mobility programs a lot and in my university, and one thing that I found that it can be a threat for the future program is personal change. So when you have someone that have a passion to in charge about this, and you need a passionate person about this, because it would not advance your academic positions. This will only advance your student knowledge. It will not give anything to you. So I'm speaking of the facts. So when you have to have that passionate person, but sometimes that person change, die, retire, or quit.
Yes.
So, and then connection is not between university, it's between you and me.
Yes.
And when I die or I retire, hopefully not both, it's gone. We don't have the concrete system. It's not Kasetsart and Kent. It's Mr. A getting along with Mr. B. How can we preserve that system is a key. And after we have two passionate persons together, I think we can work together and all the problem can be fixed if we have enough time and funding. But if you don't have the mind and you don't have a heart to do it, it's going to be difficult.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I face that all the time in my university.
Thank you so much. So the key point that I could take from here, because I have to go now, on the pre-agreed unit standards, so we need to have connections, human touch, from one people to another. Yes, the same, yes. Go deep, curriculum structure and content, so we can have a standardized from a team, from association, involve government, Ministry of Education or Ministry of Agriculture together, review regularly so that the standard maintain the same, support from industry, and that's all. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry if I don't, please pardon my shortcomings. I'll go to another group. So
Thank you. Sorry for the delay again.
No, it's all right.
Very good. Thank you.